software designers. We're going to meet a few more who benefited from this initiative here in Edmonton today. The first new immigrants to come under our new system, initiated by Jason Kenney, implemented this year, Express Entry. Instead of immigrants we have chosen who have the right skills and education to succeed in Canada, waiting years and even up to a decade, as they were doing up until very recently. This one young woman from Ireland, software engineer yesterday, submitted her application in February. It was approved within 2 weeks. And now she's here, a proud Canadian immigrant. Thirdly, we've always been about families in this country. In our immigration system, we've always had a commitment to family reunification, keeping families together. That's what built the prairies, the West, and in fact every region of Canada. We're still doing it, and we have found a way to do it on a larger scale while keeping the interests of Canadian taxpayers also close to heart. Yesterday we announced 50,000 super visas have been issued across Canada in only 3 years. That allows parents and grandparents of mostly immigrant families to come for up to 2 years at a time, but the health insurance gets paid for by the inviting party. It's a fairer deal, it's a flexible deal, and it's something that represents the kind of innovation that this government has implemented in the field of immigration. What I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, is that 10 years ago, immigration was a minefield. It was backlogs, it was abuse, it was corruption, I think the scale of which never fully became public in the later stages of the Liberal government. Over 9 hard years, 5 of them under Jason Kenney, Monty Solberg, another Alberta minister, started us out. Diane Finley was there, and now I have the honor of carrying these issues forward. We have turned immigration from a liability for Canada, from an invitation to abuse, and literally a cheapening of our citizenship. Because we had tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of newcomers who became citizens without following the rules, without fulfilling the requirements, without residing in Canada for the length of time required. That abuse is gone. Our immigration system is faster. Our temporary foreign worker program has been reformed. The focus is again on ensuring Canadians, young and old, come first. And we have turned immigration unquestionably into an area of strength for our government, and an area for which, a field for which Canada is admired around the world, and indeed increasingly emulated. Over the past month, 3 months, we must have had a dozen delegations, government, media, think tanks from Germany coming to Canada because they're having a debate there about immigration, saying, tell us how you do it. You are the model in the world today. It's not perfect. We have issues on integration. We have issues on immigrants not necessarily going where the best opportunity is, where the best job is. We want to keep engaging employers and provinces and territories to make sure that people are going where they're needed, where they will succeed. But from really a dark chapter, ending in 2006, when abuse was rife and backlogs were long, we have come an enormous way to 2015, when Canada has the fastest, most flexible, and I would say the fairest immigration system in the entire world, as well as the public support for maintaining immigration because of our economic fundamentals at a level that other countries are quite honestly not able to sustain. So whether you take the high ground of our economic policy or the more distant issues in a very troubled world beyond our borders that need to be addressed, or whether you look at the structural changes that we've made to competition policy, to position Canada as a startup nation, to our immigration, this has been a decade of transformation for Canada. It's been a decade of transformation because of Alberta's leadership. I'd like to close by saying the new leaders that are going to take us down the road to that next decade, I hope. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. of achievement are sitting in this room, many of them, and they will not have the chance. We will not have a chance to protect these gains, to build on them, to do the things that make us proud as Canadians in the years to come without your support. So thank you for being here today, and thank you for doing it.
Sorry, Minister Alexander, I just wanted to make a comment if I may. I'm really glad that you're here. I think it's wonderful that you're here talking to the people, and I appreciate that because I think that government representatives really need to be accessible to the people because that's what democracy is about, right? This is really important to me to be here. It's actually my daughter's first birthday. She's 1 today. And so, thank you. Yeah, you want to say happy birthday?
No, you don't want to hear me sing.
But, you know, she's 1, and since before she was born, my husband has been unable to work and support our family up until just a few months ago. And because he came on the Inland Spousal Sponsorship Program. And so up until just a few months ago, he was not allowed to work in Canada. So most of her life so far. Now, tell me, you say that Canadian families are important. She's a Canadian, I'm a Canadian, and we are a Canadian family. Does that look like we are a priority in this government when we are waiting 26 months for our spousal sponsorship application to go through? Now, you just said that somebody got express entry after 2 weeks. Or someone in express entry got permanent residence after being here for 2 weeks. My husband's been here for a year and a half, and he hasn't even passed the first stage of approval for spousal sponsorship. How can you justify those delays and say that families are a priority when express entry people who are foreigners are getting permanent residence before my spouse and the father of my child? How is that justified?
Happy to answer that. Spousal sponsorship hasn't changed since the Liberal government. We get more applications per year than we have the capacity to process, and then we have the space in our plan for spouses. And so a backlog has continued to grow. We're struggling. We're putting more resources into it. I don't think you'll see the processing time for spousal sponsorship inland or overseas increase anymore. I'm glad to hear your husband is the beneficiary of the initiative we took to make sure work permits are issued much earlier in the process. And we will continue trying to make sure there are no backlogs in our immigration system, including in spousal sponsorship, if we get the chance in the months and years to come. My own wife came through the Inland Spousal Sponsorship Program. It took her about 20 months. Waiting times have gone up. It took her even longer to get a work permit than what you had in the situation you described. That's a legacy that we're still coping with. Of 12 big backlogs in the immigration program across the board, we've dealt with 10, and spousal was one that's still in place.
Why is it not a priority if apparently Canadian families should be a priority in the Canadian government? They are obviously not. There are 10,000 Canadian families that are waiting in limbo. It's not right. It's inhumane. And we luckily have a work permit for him. But there are a lot of people who do not have work permits, and they've been waiting longer than us.
Absolutely.
And they were told that they're allowed to be out of status while they wait for their permanent residency through spousal sponsorship by Immigration Canada. They're allowed to stay, let their temporary resident visa expire while they're waiting for their sponsorship, but yet they don't qualify for this amazing open work permit pilot program that you came up with. What about those people? They have children. They have families. They have little babies like her.
Anyone who's...
this is not okay.
Anyone whose, as you know, application is being processed and reaches that first stage has implied status.
But they're not being issued work permits.
A huge number of work permits are being issued.
But they don't qualify.
Well, you have to give us a case of someone who doesn't qualify. There are rules, and those who fill the rules qualify. But let me make an additional point that our audience needs to understand, and I think all Canadians need to understand. We still have an immigration system that is subject to abuse. We have large numbers of spousal sponsorship applications that do not come from people who are truly married.
What is the percentage?
Truly, I can't give you exact numbers.
Approximation? 5%?
It's thousands.
So like 5%?
It is thousands. But any one case of marriage of convenience, any one case of forced marriage, any one single case of polygamy, and other violations of Canadian law that comes through our spousal system forces us to ensure a higher level of scrutiny, and the people who have followed the rules and are truly in this program for the right reasons suffer. So I'm not going to apologize for the fact that there is scrutiny and that these things aren't just rubber stamped, because there are lives of women and girls, men and women at stake, and there is a human smuggling dimension to our spousal sponsorship program, which we, again, are working very hard to eliminate. But if you saw, if I put up some slides here showing you how sophisticated some of the forms of fraud we're dealing with are, I think it would make everyone's in this room
what, and I
hands
agree
stand
with
on
you.
it.
I
Maybe
obviously
we
don't
could
support fraudulent marriage.
let others have the floor.
Would
for
I
a
be able to
second.
speak with you afterwards?
I'm happy to chat to you afterwards.
Thank you.